Oh, there's certainly some who do it better than others. But what you're talking about is an indicative problem in the entire business, which is it's a business, and it tends to run as a committee structure, and you can't tweet through a committee. And the message that most orchestras try to get out to the public is a very controlled message. The lines of communication have a lot of bottlenecks. It typically goes through the public relations department, and it has to be vetted before it goes out. And you can't have a successful social media medium unless your product is so crazy interesting to people that they're going to eat up everything you give them regardless. That's not going to be the case for orchestras. So it's as much an internal struggle as it is simply understanding what needs to be done, meaning you can tell them everything that you just said, Dave, which was really right on the mark, and you would be talking at them but not with them.
We've all experienced that in our various occupations, I guess you could say.
Right. Well, it's kind of life in general a little bit, too.
Yeah. Something that would be very interesting to me is if the musicians in the orchestra kind of did that social media connection, but on an individual level, but kind of for the orchestra. Like, say...
Right. Well, some do.
One of my favorite Twitter feeds is the St. Louis Symphony trombone section.
Yeah.
Well, on that same note, I've made a prediction that what would help the DSO is if you could get Slotkin to start a Twitter account and actually use it, because orchestras, the biggest name recognition bump orchestras get are the conductor, you know.
Sure.
Right.
And I think if you had a chance of getting some people to follow a Twitter feed, if Slotkin had one and he actually did something with it, I think it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, when you drive around San Francisco, you see billboards of MTT. When you drive around LA, you see billboards of the Dude, and when you drive around Detroit, you see billboards of Leonard Slatkin.
Right.
That's
well. Could this be a problem with not a problem, but just an orchestra director being like, "I'm not gonna do that."
Yeah, I would imagine.
Oh, sure.
That's actually a lot of it. And you can also have a double-edged sword, like a lot of things. There was an instance in Phoenix where the music director was not tweeting, but he was writing blogs for a while on an institutional blog, and he wrote a number of things that the musicians actually took issue with. And so it became kind of a fight, because then musicians would post comments anonymously that you obviously knew came from a musician, and it became an internal argument that outsiders could watch. So there has to be some training. I mean, I think one of the problems that you touched on is, like with the 21-year-old intern, you must obviously know Twitter because you're young. Don't all young people do that? They'll do the same thing with a veteran musician, a music director, assistant conductor, anyone in the organization, and just throw them into this without any training, without any experience, and you end up walking into a lot of bear traps that could be avoided otherwise if you had some professional development to help ease you into that medium.